Rain hammered against floor-to-ceiling windows. Nathaniel Hayes stood in his Manhattan penthouse, the city bleeding light through storm clouds below. His Italian leather shoes clicked against marble as he paced, his jaw clenched tight. 30 days to marry or lose everything. At 34, he had built an empire. Wall Street feared him. Boardrooms bent to his will. But his grandfather's final manipulation had cornered him. 3 floors below, Carmen Silva's hands trembled as she scrubbed bathroom tiles. Her phone pressed against her ear. The hospital billing department delivered their ultimatum with clinical coldness. "Please," Carmen whispered, voice breaking. "She's just a little girl. Without payment arrangements, we'll have to postpone the procedure." The phone slipped from her fingers, clattered against wet tile. Her 8-year-old daughter, Sophia, needed heart surgery. It cost more than Carmen would earn in 5 lifetimes. The surgery had to happen within the week. In the hallway outside, a shadow moved closer. Nathaniel had heard every word. The next morning, Carmen's red-rimmed eyes betrayed her sleepless night. "Carmen," his voice cut through silence like a blade. She jumped. In 2 years of cleaning his penthouse, he had never spoken her name. "Yes, Mr. Hayes. My office. Now." The mahogany-paneled room felt like a cathedral of power. Awards gleamed from every wall. Carmen stood frozen in the doorway, cleaning apron twisted between nervous fingers. "About your daughter's condition," Nathaniel said, without preamble. Heat flooded Carmen's cheeks. "Sir, I promise my personal problems won't affect my work. How much do you need?" The question hung in the air like smoke. "Excuse me?" "The surgery, recovery, everything. Total amount." Carmen stared at him, confusion clouding her dark eyes. "I don't understand why you're asking." Nathaniel moved closer, his presence overwhelming. "Because I have a proposition that could save us both," he explained his inheritance crisis. She watched, face transforming from confusion to shock to disbelief. "You want me to marry you?" Carmen's voice was barely a whisper.
6 months.
Purely business. 300,000 up front for Sophia's surgery, another 200 when it ends. Carmen sank into the leather chair, world tilting off its axis. This man who barely acknowledged her existence was offering to solve her nightmare. What would this marriage involve? Nathaniel pulled out a thick contract, eyes cold as winter steel. "You'll live here. Attend events as my wife. Play the part convincingly. And if I refuse," his jaw tightened, "then we both lose everything that matters." Carmen's hand shook as she stared at the contract. Somewhere in a hospital bed, Sophia was waiting for her mother to find a miracle. "I need 24 hours to decide." "You have until midnight," Nathaniel said, voice cutting through her like ice. "After that, the offer expires." As Carmen left his office, neither of them noticed the security camera's red light, blinking in the corner. Recording everything. Carmen stood outside Sophia's hospital room at 11:45 that night. Through the glass window, she watched her daughter sleep. Monitors beeped steadily, tracking the 8-year-old's weakening heart. Her phone buzzed. A text from Nathaniel. 15 minutes. Carmen closed her eyes, feeling the weight of an impossible choice crushing her chest. She thought of Sophia's laughter, now rare and precious. She thought of her own parents, who had sacrificed everything to give her a better life in America. At 11:59, Carmen walked into Nathaniel's penthouse and signed the contract without reading it. For Sophia, she whispered. Nathaniel's expression remained unreadable. "The wedding is in 3 days. I've already made arrangements." Carmen nodded, numb. Then Nathaniel did something unexpected. He pulled out his phone and made a call. "Dr. Morrison, Nathaniel Hayes. I need you to schedule an emergency pediatric cardiac surgery. Tomorrow morning." Money is no object. Carmen's knees buckled. Nathaniel caught her arm, steadying her. "Why?" she asked, tears streaming down her face. "We're not even married yet." Nathaniel released her arm, expression hardening. "Because I keep my word. Even in business." But as Carmen left to return to the hospital, she didn't see the way Nathaniel's hands trembled, or the way he poured himself 3 fingers of whiskey and stared at the contract on his desk until dawn. Sophia's surgery was a success. Carmen spent 3 days at her daughter's bedside, watching color return to the little girl's cheeks. Nathaniel sent flowers, but never visited. The distance felt like relief. On the morning of the wedding, wearing a cream silk dress that cost more than her monthly rent, she looked like someone else. Someone who belonged in Nathaniel's world. "Mom, you look like a princess," Sophia said from her hospital bed. Video calling on the tablet Nathaniel had sent. "I'll be back soon." "Mi amor," Carmen whispered, throat tight. The courthouse was sterile and cold. Nathaniel stood beside her in a charcoal suit, expression carved from stone. When the judge asked if they took each other as husband and wife, Carmen's "I do" sounded like a confession. Nathaniel's was barely audible. He slipped a platinum ring on her finger without meeting her eyes. It was heavy, expensive, empty. "Oh, we have a charity gala tonight," Nathaniel said as they left. "My business partner will be there. We need to look convincing," Carmen nodded, exhaustion settling into her bones. That evening, the ballroom glittered with Manhattan's elite. Crystal chandeliers cast fractured light across marble floors. Carmen felt like an imposter in her emerald gown. "Smile," Nathaniel murmured, his hand at the small of her back. "They're watching." Carmen forced her lips to curve. Across the room, a woman stared at them with predatory interest. She was stunning. Tall and blonde, draped in diamonds. "Who is that?" Carmen asked. Nathaniel's jaw tightened. "Victoria, my ex-fiancée." The woman glided toward them like a shark smelling blood. "Nathaniel," Victoria purred. "How romantic." "Victoria." His voice was ice. Victoria's gaze slid to Carmen, assessing and dismissing her in one look. "And you must be the new Mrs. Hayes. Tell me, how did you two meet?" Carmen felt Nathaniel's fingers tighten against her back. "We've known each other for years," she said carefully.
"How lovely."
Victoria's smile was sharp. "I'm sure you'll be very happy." For however long it lasts. After Victoria left, Nathaniel drained his champagne in one swallow. "Don't engage with her. She's poison." "Was she why you needed to marry so quickly?" Carmen asked. Nathaniel's expression shuddered. "That's not part of our contract." The words stung more than Carmen expected. She turned away, but Nathaniel caught her wrist. "We need to dance. Everyone's watching." On the dance floor, Nathaniel's arms came around her with practiced elegance. Carmen could smell his cologne, feel the heat of his body through expensive fabric. This close, she could see the exhaustion etched around his eyes. "Why did you really help Sophia before the wedding?" Carmen asked softly. "You didn't have to." Nathaniel was silent for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. "My sister died when I was 17, he finally said, voice raw. "Leukemia. My father was too proud to ask for help until it was too late. I swore I'd never let money be the reason someone lost everything." Carmen's breath caught. For the first time, she saw past the cold billionaire to the broken boy beneath. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Don't be. Just play your part." But his arms tightened around her, and for a moment, Carmen felt something shift between them, something dangerous. Later that night, Carmen found Nathaniel in his study, staring at his laptop screen. His expression was haunted. "What's wrong?" she asked. Nathaniel looked up, and something in his eyes made Carmen's stomach drop. "Someone leaked our contract to the press," he said. "Every detail. The money, the timeline, everything." Carmen's world tilted. "What does that mean?" "It means my board of directors thinks I committed fraud. It means the inheritance is being challenged." He stood, moving toward her with predatory grace. "It means we're both destroyed unless we can prove this marriage is real." "But it's not," Carmen whispered. "Then we better start making it look real. My lawyer says we need evidence of a genuine relationship. Shared accounts. Witnesses seeing us together. Intimacy." He'd flooded Carmen's cheeks. "I didn't sign up for that." "Neither did I," Nathaniel said, voice rough. "But I won't lose everything my grandfather built because someone wants to destroy me. Who would do this?" Nathaniel's jaw clenched. "I have my suspicions." The next morning, Carmen woke to find Nathaniel already gone. A note sat on the nightstand. Pack a bag. We're going to my family estate in the Hamptons. We need to be seen together. The estate was breathtaking. White columns rose against azure sky. Gardens stretched toward the ocean like something from a dream. Your grandfather's house? Carmen asked as they pulled up the drive. My prison, Nathaniel said quietly. Inside, staff moved with quiet efficiency. An older woman approached, her face lighting up when she saw Nathaniel. Master Nathaniel. And you must be Carmen. She pulled Carmen into a warm embrace. I'm Margaret. I practically raised this boy. Margaret was my sister's nanny, Nathaniel said, and something in his voice softened. And mine, after she died. Margaret's eyes glistened. Your grandfather would be proud seeing you married. Nathaniel's expression darkened. Would he? That evening, they walked along the beach. Salt air whipped Carmen's hair across her face. The sun bled orange across the horizon. Tell me about her, Carmen said. Your sister. Nathaniel was quiet for a long time. Her name was Emma. She was funny, fearless. She wanted to be a doctor. He picked up a stone, threw it hard into the waves. She got sick when she was 15. My father kept saying we'd handle it. That Hayesman didn't ask for charity. By the time he swallowed his pride, it was too late. That's why you helped Sophia. I saw my sister in her eyes, Nathaniel said, voice breaking. I couldn't watch another little girl die because of pride or money or timing. Carmen reached for his hand without thinking. His fingers closed around hers, warm and solid. You're not your father, she said. Nathaniel looked at her then. Really looked at her, and Carmen felt her heart stutter. Carmen, I need to tell you something. Before he could continue, his phone rang. Nathaniel's face went pale as he answered. What? When he listened, jaw clenching. I'll be there in an hour. What happened? Carmen asked. Victoria called an emergency board meeting. She's trying to remove me as CEO. His eyes met hers, desperate and furious. She's the one who leaked the contract. They drove back to Manhattan in tense silence. Carmen's mind raced. Victoria had orchestrated everything at the emergency board meeting. Victoria sat at the head of the conference table like a queen. Perfectly composed. Perfectly cruel, Nathaniel, she said smoothly. And Carmen. How lovely. What is this, Victoria? Nathaniel's voice was dangerous. This is me protecting the company from your fraud. Victoria slid a folder across the table. Your sham marriage violates the integrity clause in your grandfather's will. The board has voted. You're out. You can't do this. I already have. Victoria's smile was poisonous. And before you threaten legal action, you should know I have security footage of your little proposition to Carmen. Every word. Every dollar amount. Carmen's blood ran cold. The camera in his office? You've been planning this from the beginning, Nathaniel said. From the moment you chose her over me, Victoria hissed, composure cracking. You humiliated me, Nathaniel. So I'm returning the favor. Nathaniel looked at Carmen, and she saw something in his eyes she'd never seen before. Fear. There's one way to prove the marriage is real, Victoria said, voice dripping with false sweetness. Carmen gives up the money. All of it. If this marriage is genuine, she won't need payment. The room fell silent. Every eye turned to Carmen. Her mind raced. Without that money, Sophia's follow-up treatments would be impossible. But if she kept it, Nathaniel lost everything. Carmen, Nathaniel said quietly. Don't. But Carmen was already standing, heart pounding. Where do I sign? Carmen? No. Nathaniel's voice was raw. You can't. But Carmen was already walking toward Victoria, each step feeling like she was walking off a cliff. I'll sign whatever you need, Carmen said, voice steady, even as her hands shook. The marriage is real. I don't want his money. Victoria's eyes gleamed with victory. She slid papers across the table. Then prove it. Carmen picked up the pen. Behind her, she could hear Nathaniel's sharp intake of breath. Carmen, think about Sophia. The follow-up treatments. I am thinking about her, Carmen said quietly. She signed her name, each letter feeling like a betrayal of her daughter. She needs her mother to do the right thing. The pen clattered onto the table. Victoria's smile was triumphant. Well, how noble. She gathered the papers. The board will take this under advisement. That wasn't the deal, Nathaniel said through gritted teeth. The deal was, she proves it's real. I'll let the board decide if her little performance was convincing. Victoria stood, smoothing her dress. Enjoy your evening, Mr. and Mrs. Hayes. After she left, the conference room emptied. Only Nathaniel and Carmen remained. Why'd you do that? Nathaniel's voice was barely controlled fury. You just gave up everything. Gave Sophia her life before we were even married, Carmen said. How could I let you lose everything now? That was different. That was business. Was it? Carmen turned to face him. Because it didn't feel like business when you told me about Emma. When you held my hand on the beach, Nathaniel stared at her, something dangerous flickering in his eyes. Don't what? Don't tell you that somewhere along the way this stopped being just a contract. Carmen? Her name was a warning on his lips. See you, Nathaniel. The man behind the walls? The boy who lost his sister and never forgave himself. Stop. Make me. The air between them crackled with tension. Then Nathaniel closed the distance, his hands framing her face, and kissed her like a man drowning. Carmen's world narrowed to the heat of his mouth, a desperate way his fingers tangled in her hair. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. This complicates everything, Nathaniel whispered against her lips. I know. If Victoria finds out it's real now, she'll find another way to destroy us. Then we don't let her find out, Carmen said. We play the game better than she does. Nathaniel's thumb traced her cheekbone. When did you get so ruthless? I learned from the best. Over the next 2 weeks, they became the perfect couple. Nathaniel taught Carmen how to navigate his world. She learned which fork to use, which donors to flatter, which reporters to avoid. But in private, the lines blurred. Stolen kisses in darkened hallways. His hand finding hers under dinner tables. The way he looked at her when he thought she wasn't watching. Falling for you, Carmen whispered one night as they stood on his penthouse balcony. The city spread below them like scattered diamonds. Nathaniel pulled her closer. I fell weeks ago. I just didn't want to admit it. What happens when the 6 months end? I don't want them to end, Nathaniel said. And the vulnerability in his voice broke something open in Carmen's chest. Then his phone rang. Nathaniel's face went white as he listened. What? Carmen asked as he hung up. Her heart. There are complications from the surgery. Carmen's world stopped. No, she was fine. Carmen, Nathaniel grabbed her shoulders. Listen to me. I will fix this. I'll get the best doctors. I'll pay for everything. You can't. I signed away the money, remember? And my insurance won't cover experimental treatments? I don't care about the contract. I don't care about Victoria or the board. Your daughter needs help, and I'm going to make sure she gets it. Tears streamed down Carmen's face. Why? Why do you care so much? Nathaniel's eyes were fierce. Because I love you. And I love that little girl. And I'm not losing either of you. At the hospital, doctors explained that Sophia needed a specialized treatment. It would cost $250,000. Carmen's insurance called it experimental, refused to pay. I'll cover it, Nathaniel said immediately. Mr. Hayes, the doctor said carefully, there's a waiting list. Even with money, it could be weeks before we can schedule her. That's not good enough.
I'm sorry.
It's the best we can do. In the hallway, Carmen collapsed against the wall. This is my fault. I gave up the money. I should have thought about her future, not yours. Carmen? No. Nathaniel knelt in front of her. You made an impossible choice. Don't punish yourself. She's my daughter. I'm supposed to protect her. I'm supposed to protect both of you, Nathaniel said fiercely. Let me. That's when Margaret appeared at the end of the hallway, her face stricken. Behind her stood Victoria, and her smile was cold as winter. What a touching scene, Victoria said. Nathaniel Hayes, brought to his knees by love. Nathaniel stood, placing himself between Victoria and Carmen. I came to make you an offer. Victoria's eyes glittered. You're blackmailing a child's life. Carmen's voice was shaking with fury. I'm offering a solution. Nathaniel's shares for Sophia's treatment. Seems like a fair trade. Victoria examined her nails. You have 1 hour to decide. She walked away, heels clicking against hospital linoleum. Each step sounded like a countdown. Nathaniel turned to Carmen, and she saw the decision already forming in his eyes. Don't you dare, Carmen said. That company is your legacy. Your grandfather's legacy. Everything you've worked for. And you're everything I never knew I needed, Nathaniel said simply. I choose you. I choose Sophia. I choose this family, Nathaniel. He cupped her face in his hands. I told you, I'm not losing either of you. Not for anything, but she wins. No. Nathaniel's smile was sharp. But she's about to learn something important. What? You don't back a Hayes into a corner and expect them not to fight back. I don't understand, Carmen said. What are you planning? Nathaniel pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen. Margaret, I need you to bring me that box from my grandfather's safe, the one with the red seal. Margaret nodded and disappeared down the hallway. Nathaniel, what's going on? Victoria thinks she's been playing chess. His eyes were hard. My grandfather knew someone might try to steal the company, so he put in a failsafe. What kind of failsafe? Before Nathaniel could answer, Margaret returned with a wooden box. Inside were documents, yellowed with age. Nathaniel's hands trembled as he opened them. My grandfather's original will, the real one. Carmen leaned closer, reading over his shoulder. Her breath caught. Inheritance clause, she whispered. It's different. Victoria had my lawyer doctored. It was about finding someone who would choose love over money. Nathaniel's voice cracked. Someone who would prove that Hayes men could be better than my father. Better than my grandfather? The test was never about you getting married, Carmen said, understanding dawning. It was about you being willing to give up everything for the right reasons. And you passed it for me when you signed away the money. When you chose to save me, instead of securing Sophia's future, Nathaniel turned to her, eyes bright. My grandfather would have loved you. Slow smile spread across Carmen's face. Victoria has no claim, none, and she never did. Nathaniel's expression turned predatory. But she committed fraud, forgery, extortion. I have evidence of everything. The security footage. She thought she was so clever. But every camera in my office feeds to a separate encrypted server, including the ones she doesn't know about. Nathaniel pulled out his phone again. The ones that recorded her admitting to leaking the contract, to blackmailing us with Sophia's treatment. Carmen's hand flew to her mouth. She confessed. On tape. 30 minutes later, Victoria stormed back into the hospital, face twisted with rage. You bastard, she hissed. You recorded me? You recorded me first, Nathaniel said mildly. Turnabout is fair play. The board will never believe you over me. They already have. Check your email. You've been removed from the company. Effective immediately. Nathaniel stepped closer, voice dropping to something dangerous. And you're going to arrange Sophia's treatment? Today? Or I press charges for fraud, extortion, and blackmail. Victoria's face went white. You wouldn't. Try me. The stare down lasted an eternity. I'll make the calls. Margaret will go with you, Nathaniel said. To make sure you follow through. After they left, Carmen sagged against Nathaniel, relief and exhaustion flooding through her. Is it really over? She whispered, the legal battles will take time. But yes. Victoria can't touch us anymore. And Sophia will get the treatment today and every follow-up she needs. For as long as she needs it. Carmen looked up at him, this man who had become so much more than a convenient solution. I love you, Nathaniel said softly. I heard you tell Sophia yesterday when you thought I wasn't listening. You were eavesdropping. I have excellent hearing. His smile faded. Carmen, I need to ask you something. And I need you to know there's no contract this time. No clauses or conditions. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside was a different ring, simpler, more delicate. A single diamond caught the harsh hospital lights. This was Emma's. My mother gave it to her before she died. She made me promise to give it to someone who understood what it meant to fight for the people you love. Nathaniel's voice cracked. Will you marry me again? For real this time. Carmen's tears fell freely now. We're already married, not the way I want us to be. Not with witnesses and promises and forever. He took her hand. I'm not asking my contract wife. I'm asking the woman I love. The mother who would give up everything for her daughter. The fighter who saved me from becoming my father? Yes, Carmen whispered. 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring on her finger beside the platinum band. This one fit perfectly. 6 months later, Carmen stood in the same courthouse where they'd first exchanged vows. But this time, Sophia sat in the front row, healthy and beaming. Margaret dabbed her eyes with a handkerchief. The board members who had doubted them now smiled with genuine warmth, and when Nathaniel said, I do, his voice rang clear and strong. When Carmen said it back, she meant every syllable. You may kiss your wife, the judge said. Again. The kiss tasted like second chances and hard-won futures. Like rain on windows and hospital corridors and every moment that had brought them here. I have something to tell you, Carmen whispered against his lips. What? Remember when you said you wanted a family? Nathaniel pulled back, eyes searching hers. Understanding dawned slowly, then all at once. Carmen, are you? She nodded, tears and laughter mixing together. Sophia's going to be a big sister. When he set her down, his hand rested protectively over her stomach. Thank you, he whispered. For saving me? We saved each other, Carmen said. Later, as they stood on his penthouse balcony, with Sophia asleep in her new bedroom down the hall. You remember the night you signed the contract? He asked. How could I forget? I knew then. Some part of me knew that you were going to change everything. His hand found hers, fingers tangling together. I just didn't know I'd be grateful for it. No more contracts? No more contracts, Nathaniel agreed. Just promises. And I promise to love you every day for the rest of our lives. Even when I'm impossible. Especially then. The city glittered below them, full of possibility and second chances. Somewhere in that maze of light and shadow, other people were making impossible choices. Other people were being backed into corners. But here in this moment, Carmen and Nathaniel had everything that mattered, each other, their daughter, their future, and the knowledge that sometimes the best things in life come disguised as business deals. Desperate propositions, and contracts signed at midnight. Sometimes love doesn't. Arrive with fanfare and romance. Sometimes it arrives wearing Italian, leather shoes and carrying a contract. Sometimes it arrives scrubbing bathroom, tiles and whispering prayers. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, it stays. The end.